I believe in life one of the most misunderstood topic and area of playing the game of life it's risk. Every time when someone talks about risk, people associate risk with failure. Or there is a risk for this or that to happen. People always believe that there is a skewed down towards failure. Do you know that in 2025 over 100,000 different jobs completely shut down due to the AI? And I'm not talking about people getting fired. I'm talking about actual businesses shut down because the product or service is no longer in demand. No one is calling placing orders because the AI is getting the job done faster and cheaper. What are these businesses? Well, as we have guessed, we're talking about graphic design, we're talking about video production, we're talking about marketing, we're talking about advertisements, we're talking about AI video generation replaced all the production lines. You no longer need an actual physical influencers to hold or promote your product. You no longer need somebody to draft a logo or create a special ad or commercial for your product or service. You no longer need anyone to actually come over and create a special strategy, run ads, create retargeting, collect keywords, run different numbers trying to look at the competitors. No, you can do all this using AI. So if no one actually placing order to your company, well, effectively you're out of business, right? Think about everyone who starts the business for the first time, they all do the same thing. They think that everyone could be their client, they want to reach everyone, they want to sell to everyone, and they want to sell cheap, right? Why the mindset of every new business owner is the same? Why 90% of these people fail? The main question is, which are the next businesses on the line this year that will most likely file for bankruptcy and completely disappear? Look, we're not just talking about the weakest players of the industry. We're talking about every player in the industry essentially is closing, over 100,000 in some of these particular niches in 2025, because the niche is kind of disappearing, right? It's in a way in which we had the cars replacing the carriages, right? Completely erased anyone involved in carriages. The production of carriages in the business completely plummeted. Then we have the internet came in, completely erased all the radio and other stuff, sources of information. Then we got the TV, then we got the phone, etc. Right? This is how when something completely new comes around or comes along, it's not just taking all the weak hands and the weak business providers off the market. It takes the whole niche off the market, creates a completely new niche where it's either going to be couple of new services merged together, offered as one service, which could be now, let's say you have or you run an AI agency, you can offer video production, you can create content marketing, you can create an advertisement campaign, you can create the full blown house where people can order absolutely everything for promotion and design of their personal brand and their products and services that they're offering. It no longer has to go to 5 different companies to get the job done. The second option, if that's not going to happen, it will be extremely niched and specialized firms. Let's say somebody has a video generation tool that they built for themselves in-house. And this video generation tool is trained on data only on sport ads from the past. Basically, there is a special niche down agency that only produces commercials, ads, and marketing campaigns for only sporting goods, or sport drinks, or anything related to sport. This is very helpful because having your own personal chatbot trained on your own personal data gives you precise outputs, which, as you know, the better the outputs, the better the prompts. First of all, it's more cost efficient because you will use less tokens, which basically means that you have higher profit margin because everything that remains will be simply profit from you from the actual generation cost. These are the two parallels I see that will come on the surface. And if you look like honestly, who else most likely going to be replaced? Of course, will be content writing. Everyone who previously was ordered to write articles, maybe the people who are publishing these articles or putting the articles on the actual media. Let's say I want to have a front page of my business on Wall Street Journal. I no longer have to pay whatever amount it is for someone to write the article for me and then pay additional fee for the distribution, I may as well just pay somebody else, third party, completely summarized, very focused and niche down AI tool that has been fed the training data from the most successful engaging articles. So when you have, like I said, a personalized tool that is trained on the data that is very niched and the data that is only outperform all the metrics, you have essentially a very successful and highly objective product, which means that there's a very small chance for a flop on the particular output. This is what I see. If you want to go and try to replicate this, you need to start training your own models. You need to have separate accounts in different AI tools, and you have to start specializing them in particular niche. Let's say you have a tool only for medical thematic questions, content. It could be blog posts, it could be a site for some home remedies. You can have another tool that is only for like home workout or something. The idea is that you don't want to mix up. Today everyone is mixed up, all the questions, all the information, different inputs, different outputs. So your own personal chatbot has no core value attached to it because it has many parts of information, questions and answers, but essentially has no real deep understanding of any of it. Do you know that every single day 2,500 different businesses file for bankruptcy in the United States, and another 2,000 are started? Before the virus situation, every single year they had over 900,000 businesses simply file for bankruptcy. And in 2025, majority of the businesses which were closing were retail locations, and the number jumped from 2,500 a day to 15,000 a day. This is why selling cheap, and this is why doing business is noob as a brand new business owner, following the old way of doing business. It's usually not gonna get you successful. It will not differentiate your business or your product. Selling cheap creates this idea that everyone could be your client. But if everyone is your client, you don't really have the actual clientele profile. You know exactly niche down who is your client, how much money they're making, where they're living, what kind of brands they're wearing, right? It's like you trying to sell a person who is buying Loro Piana a Zara jacket. Do you understand how ridiculous this will look like? The person will not going to be even interested. Or you're trying to sell a person who only drives a European cars, Mercedes, BMW, Audis. You try to sell this person, let's say, a Honda Civic or Subaru, right? It's simply not gonna get the deal done. This is why you wanna niche down the profile of your clients. Reverse engineering. You're not starting from the business, product or service, or starting with the clients. Who you can actually serve the best, who you know the best. Let's say I work on Wall Street for 6 years. I know Wall Street communities, people, employees, different levels, hierarchy. I know exactly who is wearing what, representing what kind of jewelries, what kind of rings, what kind of watches, what kind of suits. I know absolutely everything, what kind of shoes. Every single item that these people are wearing or possess represents something. This is why your biggest leverage in the competitive market that is pretty saturated, it's always to, first of all, niche down, know exactly who is your client, who you're talking to. This will help you to know how to price your items. This will help you to craft and design the product or services. This will help you to create a very effective marketing campaign. You know exactly who to hire to promote your product or service. If you hire some bimbo to promote my jackets and suits to the Wall Street guys, nobody will care. No one take her serious. It's a wild west out there. You're going to hire somebody that looks like Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. You're gonna dress him and you're gonna make him speak like him because he speaks their language. Right? You wanna buy something from someone that looks like you, sounds like you, works jobs like yours, makes probably your money, right? It's always actually a little bit better if you can find someone that is the next level. Because if somebody from the next level sells something to the people in the level below, the people will be much more incentivized to buy from him, because psychologically they believe that if they look like him, they're gonna be him, right? Let's say I work on Wall Street for 6 years. I know Wall Street communities, people, employees, different levels, hierarchy. I know exactly who is wearing what, representing what kind of jewelries, what kind of rings, what kind of watches, what kind of suits. I know absolutely everything, what kind of shoes. Every single item that these people are wearing or possess represents something. So if tomorrow I said, okay, I'm gonna go into the commodity market, I'm gonna build a fashion brand or accessory brand only for men that are working on Wall Street. I know exactly who to target, how to target. I know exactly how much I should charge them. And I know that I should charge them a lot. I'm not gonna charge them cheap. I'm not gonna charge them $100 for a button-down shirt. I'm not gonna charge them $400 or $500 for a suit. Why? Because when they pay more money, they feel that they're getting something unique. This will give them personal satisfaction and will give them more motivation and will make them even more arrogant over the other people on Wall Street, because they can have what they own. Understand? The diversification of different pricing, different items, having everything that is specifically, uniquely satisfying a particular person is what makes you different. This is why I said that when you try to network or try to establish partnerships, you want to make sure you have the similar IQ level in the table. You don't want to have people who pretend to be smart, think they're smart, but they're actually very dumb and try to play the short-term game, trying to scam you over. So this is why you want to make sure that you really understand the people who you're facing in business level. You want to understand their capabilities, not only financial. We're talking about intellectual involvement, how much they were really involved in building their businesses. Did they simply bought out the business from some genius and now they pretend to be the business mind behind it? Or they really were the founder? They were there in the first early days, like the Jensen Huang. It was the first days of NVIDIA. 3 guys started NVIDIA. If you don't know the story, they were passionate about video games. The video games back then were one-dimensional, and they said, how cool would it be if the games are 3-dimensional, and they built the special chips that allow the game to actually render in 3D. If you're able to find partners or counterparties with a similar IQ level, and if you're able to take some losses here and there for the sake of getting bigger returns further down the road and playing the long-term game, you might be setting yourself for the billionaire pie someday. Not guaranteed, but if you walk or if you arrange the path in the right way, the settings could allow you to be next on the line. It's not about the money. Probably one of the biggest lies I've heard. When you go to the store and try to buy nice clothes, right? It's all about the money, right? When you go and try to, have a nice haircut, try to look nice, try to look good, it's all about the money. When you go out and try to network, try to meet new people in your business, right? End goal is still to make more money. When you go and apply for nice university, try to get a nice degree, it's all about the money. When you go out and try to get a nice girlfriend or wife, at the end of the day, it's all about the money. It's all about money. Every time when I see someone who's trying to convince me on something, who's trying to sell me directly or indirectly on something, on his idea, product or service, and when he's using the leverage, it's not about the money, G. This is the biggest bullshit matter, the biggest red flag that I could see. Because everything is done because of the existence or the exchange of money. People who come over here and fix my internet, right, or install my internet, or build the whole network connection with fiber cables or whatsoever, they're doing it because of the money. It's all about the money. Genuinely ask yourself a question. When was the last time when you ran out of money? When was the last time when you thought that you have to change something, right? When was the last time when you saw someone that is doing very, very well and you kind of promised to yourself that you can also do well and you're gonna find a way to get things in order? When was the last time when you promised something to yourself and you didn't follow the promise? So I see this all the time. And this is where people get things wrong. They think that it's a lack of time, I don't have time to do it, a lack of skills, I don't know how to do it. People say that they have lack of patience. I cannot wait to get rich. I cannot wait actually to start a business, to build, to grow, to expand. Which it's all kind of fake excuses of simply not spending enough time to make the strategy that applies to your own life. Because you can always find time, because you can always get inspired by looking at someone else's business. Think about a lady last year, she was selling air in cans. You open a can, like a small, soda can, and there is nothing inside. She made millions selling nothing. There was a guy 4 years ago, he was selling on iTunes 3 minutes and 50 seconds a song that was nothing on it. You listen, empty sound. It was something like Calmness, named Calmness, and you play it and it's nothing. You have to pay for it like $8, $7.99, something like this, and people bought it. The guy made millions. Through my perspective, risk is essentially a 50-50 chance. If I buy a stock, there is a risk the stock to go to zero, but also there is a risk the stock to go to the moon. The other day, someone here online asked me if I have to recommend only one job, one profession, where people can actually focus, not being afraid that AI could essentially eat their lunch. And I was thinking very deeply, right? I'm not giving someone just random information. I thought for a while, and I realized that the people who are currently the middlemen and have been the middlemen for the last 10-20 years are probably one of the few professions where they don't really care about AI. Why? Because the middleman deals with commodity, deals with information. Middleman connects supply and demand. In between, sure, there could be some AI trying to cut corners. Sure, there could be some AI trying to get the best deals, trying to cut the middleman. But a lot of people still need a lot of knowledge to utilize this AI functionality. And most people are still old school. They're gonna wait for the very last moment to implement the AI into their business. So this means that there is still opportunity, at least the next 5 years. You can be a middleman and you can still make tons of money. Let me explain how this usually works. Let's say I have a chain of delis, of small grocery stores here in the neighborhoods of New York City, right? Let's say I have multiple suppliers that brings a lot of food from Europe. Let's say I have specialized European food delis. All these people need middlemen because they're different producers, they're different pricing. You can get pasta from Torino or Rome. You can get pasta from southern France. You can get pasta from northern France. So there are different suppliers that connect the distributors with the actual grocery store chain owners. So the middleman is the person who is shopping for the best pricing, the best deals on the large-scale operation, and he picks up the phone, he negotiates the deal, he sometimes sets up the logistics if he's paid to do so. There is an additional percentage on top of that. And then they're getting either flat fee on the retainer because they have to broker the deal every single month or every 6 months or every quarter, or you simply get a percentage of the total order value. Let's say my grocery chain orders $150,000 every, let's say, quarter, right? So effectively, which one makes more money for the broker dealer, for the middleman? Either 1% of the deal or flat fee. If the volume is the same, effectively they're going to get paid the same. But if there's fluctuations, if there is a particular cycles or particular seasonality in the demand of particular products, especially now with inflation, more likely than not, the middleman will require individual percentage of every order total value. Because if we presume that the inflation will continue to go high, which most likely it will, which means the prices of the items will go higher, which means the logistics will become more expensive, especially now with the current developments in Iran. We see that the oil prices have again skyrocketed. This means that you most likely buying up the futures as a middleman, that the current prices are lower than the future prices. So this is why you're gonna hedge against the potential missed opportunity or opportunity cost of not taking this advantage of the price bump. This is why I believe if you want to be secure and not worry about the AI, especially if you're a person who is not really interested in learning the AI, at some point you have to learn the AI. But like I said, a lot of people are waiting for the very last moment. Why? Two main reasons. Reason number one, they still see new technologies are coming and they want to see which technology will persist, so they don't have to learn all the different models, all the different chatbots, all different automations. They want to see, okay, it's going to be this platform which will be mainstream, which will be used in the government, which will be used in the local government or the majority of businesses, and this is the one I'm going to learn. They don't want to learn something that will not most likely be used in the future, right? Second reason is that people are lazy. This is not the news, not the breaking news over here. So people are going to be hoping for the very last moment everything to come down, the AI bubble to burst like the .com bubble, 1990s, 2000, and everything to be washed out like a rain on my coat. It will disappear and the life will go back to normal. This is the hope of a lot of people, which we all should agree. There is a small percentage in every one of us hoping that this is going to happen, right? Life has become a little more complicated and a little bit faster moving makes it harder for a lot of people to catch up with, not only on the knowledge base but financially as well. So slowing down the process, it will be helpful on the bigger scheme of things. So think about this. Think about if you can be or become a middleman, if you have experience in something that you previously do, if you work corporate job and if you know the usual stack of the corporate jobs, you can become probably middleman affiliate for some of the software companies that your corporate office uses. You can become probably a middleman for office management. You can become a middleman for hiring process. This is very important. We all know there is a finder's fee. All the big tech companies right now are hiring. They're hiring engineers, they're hiring different positions, and they're paying a finder's fee. For example, they said, we're looking for 3 senior developers, software developers that are experienced in iOS development. If you find us the right person, and if we hire this person, we're going to pay you 5,000, 10,000. Bigger companies, you know, they can pay 50,000. I even heard some people getting paid $100,000. Again, they're looking for someone who is really exceptional. They're looking for people who have, you know, PhD in artificial intelligence, people who studied artificial intelligence and have been, you know, growing their skill set 10, 15 years ago. So these people are pretty advanced. They're not the new wave of AI experts and noobs like we're seeing every single day. So you can look into this as well. Also, I believe the medical field has a very good structure. People are really making a lot of money if you know how to broker the medical deals. But then I think it's not the best fulfillment job, right? Because you have to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies. Then you have to go and you have to pitch to doctors. You have to go back and forth. You have to travel a lot. I don't know what is the satisfaction, because sure you can make a lot of money, but the lack of fulfillment sometimes, you know, makes the bank account pretty dissatisfaction, right? You can make a lot of money, 100k, 150k a month, but still if you don't enjoy, tomorrow I have to go, I have to meet 5 doctors, you know, I have to meet, you know, this and that, I have to push these medications, I have to, you know, if you're into this, if you study this, probably this could be a great field for you. But for average person without medical background, education or by training, I think it will be harder to really pitch. But look into this. Risk is one of the most misunderstood levers that anyone could actually learn and explore, because there is a proportional reward. Every 9 out of 10 risks that I have taken on a small scale, we're talking about small risk, 9 out of 10 have payout. The bigger risks are usually, it takes much longer to see the result. There are many things happening, and in the end, you would know, was it worth it? Did you succeed? But it will be not so clear, because the big risks, it takes a long time to play out, a lot of moving parts. But still, if you're able to understand that the risks essentially is something that you should learn. In Japanese, risk and opportunity is the same word. There is a reason for it. Stop thinking and start having this automatic reaction when you hear about the risks, that this means failure. This means that most likely there is at least 60% chance of failure. It is most likely that there is greater chance of you failing or something not happening than vice versa. No. When there is a risk, it means that there is at least 50-50 chance something to happen or not to happen, something to go up or something to go down. This is why a lot of people are so afraid of the risk. Usually you mark risk with the letter C, because you got to do A, you got to do B, and you got to wait to see the implications of the risk. People are so afraid of the C, they're so afraid of the risk, they don't do A and B. They just stay over here, want to do something, and just staring at the risk, and they don't take the A and B. And the clear part here is that sometimes the C, the risk, actually holds the big reward. You don't know what C holds for you. It might be a reward, it might be a failure, it might be a drawback, right? You don't really know. But the problem is that people are not even trying, because there is a presumption that when you hear about risk, everyone is kind of pushed back. There is a big roadblock that no one can actually deal with, or most people will not be able to deal with. When you change your mind and when you look at risk as a volatility index, you're adding volatility, you're adding movement, you're adding a possible trajectory or deviation of the potential outcomes, everything becomes much more interesting. Everything becomes alive. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not crazy, hopefully. But I want you to understand this. There is a risk, like I said, the stock could go to zero. But there is a risk the stock to go to the moon, right? Both are risks. One is a risk for you as a buyer, that the stock goes to zero. But the stock for a person who is betting against the stock, the risk is that the stock could go indefinitely high. Remember very, very well what happened in 2021 with all the meme stocks, right? This is not something that people were anticipating for on either side of the equation. This is why I will spend so much time teaching my kids to study the risk, to emphasize different strategy so they can expose themselves to the risk. And I'm not talking about risks that are directly correlated to their life being. I'm talking about risks that are related to larger paybacks. Because imagine if you learn this early on, and all the shots that you have taken in your life are only big shots, big risks. And if we take the same example with the proportional reward, all you need is to be right once. This is a very popular quote from Mark Cuban. Forget about all the nonsense, forget about all the failures. All you need is to be right once, to do one home run, and it's game over. For most people, $10 million, it's a game changer. This is why when you understand the risk and when you understand the concept of proportional rewards versus the risk that is taken, life becomes a game of taking risks. Think about James Bond, right? There's a proportional risk, how much money he bet in the casino, how much time he spent preparing himself, dedicating to the job, how much time he spent preparing for the missions, right? Everything is a risk, and the bigger the risk, there's obviously a bigger reward in the end. Because like I said, small risks are playing out very fast. something that will require minimal effort, minimal resources. You probably put on the line something very small, innocuous, something that will not change your life if you lose it or if it doesn't play out the way you expect it. But the big risks takes a while. It took Bitcoin 12 years to actually play out the big risk, right? This is why I genuinely believe that if there is one thing that should be taught in schools or should be taught by parents, is risk tolerance, understanding the risk psychology, and understanding how to evaluate potential risk-reward ratios. Because in this way, you kind of putting yourself between the big shots. If you take 10 shots, 10 big shots, 10 big bets, and if one of them plays out, you beat everyone else who has taken 100, 200, 300, 400 small bets. It's no guarantee you're gonna win any. There's no guarantee you're not gonna lose all of them. There's no guarantee that you will actually deal normally with the failure, which, like I said, most people are not even going to the letter C. Letter C, like I said, is we mark the risk with letter C because it takes to go from A to B to C, the C. To see the actual reward. What is inside? What is on the other side of the equation? Embrace it. Learn from it. I would definitely, if I have to think the last New Year's resolutions, maybe the last 3 years, I have always set myself, this year I'm going to take a little bit bigger risk. This year I'm going to take a little bit bigger risk, right? And it's usually in the same direction. Usually it always in the areas that I wasn't comfortable, taking such big risks. I'm not going to put myself through something that I'm very comfortable, right? Sometimes you just have to either double down on something that you already have experience taking risk with, but sometimes you just have to, jump into a completely new area. No experience, no knowledge, no skills. Head first. And like I said, this is what, think about all the people who actually quit or got fired during the virus situation. Percentage wise, how many of them are actually better now? Started their business. They never had business prior. They were very good employees. When they got fired, they started a business. They never came back to work. Not all of them. Not gonna, over positively portray the image that it's not accurate at all. But people who took risk and people who were having a high risk tolerance, they receive a major payback. And this is what I was trying to explain. A, B, and the end is the C. Remember this simple, very simple illustrative formula. If you want to achieve something, it's always going to be the C. Where is the reward? There is the risk. So you gotta do A and B before you see what is the end of the tunnel. What is the C for you has in common? Think about it.